Hi, hi. Hello. Hi, I feel like I haven't been live in a hot minute. Have not been live in a very long time, it feels like, but it's only been 2 weeks. Hi Bianca, how are you? I've had COVID actually for the past 10 days or so. Finally completely over it. It felt like it kept coming back, but I'm doing well now. Hi, what's up, Tara? Hello. But yeah, so honestly, I'm just going to get right into it today. I feel like a lot of women that I talk to think that attracting a masculine energy provider man is like winning the lottery. It's like getting lucky. It's something you can only do if, by accident, right? And that is so not true. Actually, that's going to be the way you're least likely to attract a provider sort of man, especially one that's in his healthy masculine energy. I've actually been receiving like so many downloads for this for the past few days, and I'm like, I just need to get to the point where I'm not coughing so much so I can actually talk about it. And so here we are. But feel free to drop your questions in the chat throughout the live and I will answer them for you at the end. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So most people I really think that most people aren't getting this out of their relationships because most people think that women end up with men who want to spoil them, want to provide for them, want to even just show up in their masculine energy because they think that they're getting lucky or they're finding this man, he's like a unicorn, or they're just like, oh my gosh, where do you find these men, right? I hear that all the time. I see that all the time on comments. And the thing is that you don't go out and find this man, right? Like we attract this sort of man, and that treatment that you're getting, I made a post about this yesterday actually. You can see a man treat a woman one way, and he may be giving her the bare minimum or 50-50 relationship or whatever. And if she wants that, that's fine. But if you desire more than that, and you desire that feminine masculine dynamic, and you desire to be provided for, be a stay-at-home mom, be a stay-at-home wife, whatever you want, have the option to work, start your own business, then you can't find this guy by accident, and you can't just keep hoping that he's just going to magically show up, right? So the women who get this treatment from men, like people call it the princess treatment, the queen treatment, goddess treatment, whatever you want to call it, it's not because they're more special than you are. It's not because they popped out of the womb with the innate ability. Actually, we all do pop out of the womb with the innate ability to attract this, but it's not that they're any more special than you. It's not because they fit the beauty standard more, or, it's not because of any of that. They're deeply in touch with their divine feminine energy. And whether they know it or not, they may not even know that that's the terminology for it. But that's what masculine men are attracted to, and that's what attracts the masculine energy. Because we need both within ourselves, right? We need the masculine to be able to set boundaries. I'm going to get into how we can do this with our feminine in a minute. But we need that masculine energy to give ourselves structure, or else we're just going to be operating out of our feminine, and that's going to be a very slow process of evolving, a very slow process of, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to take action, but I'm just going to hope that I'm going to attract. I'm just going to hope that I attract this person. I'm just going to hope that my business starts itself whenever I'm not even taking action to do anything to attract clients or, whatever kind of business you have. It doesn't work like that. You have to have the union of divine feminine and divine masculine energy. All right, so I kind of got off topic there, a little bit of a rant. But feminine energy is so powerful. I think that people really view feminine energy as only the love and the light and all that fun stuff of being agreeable and just nice, the nice girl. I don't associate feminine energy with that personally. I don't think that that's empowering. I think, being kind, being nice, having that light, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. But if that's all that we have, and we don't have that darker side of the feminine energy, then we're never going to have what it takes to attract what we truly desire. We're not going to be able to manifest. We're not going to be able to truly operate out of a divine feminine place. So divine feminine is not just that love and light, right? It's this yummy mixture of the light feminine, a healthy version of it, and the dark feminine. I love the dark feminine. Neither one is better. I just personally really love talking about the dark feminine energy because that's something that I really struggled with. And I think that what people are teaching online, on specifically YouTube videos, I've seen a lot on TikTok, is talking about how to be feminine solely in a place of you need to tone yourself down, or you need to not be so opinionated, or you need to, fit this little perfect little girl mold to be agreeable. And that is honestly just incorrect, in my opinion. I think that there's parts of surrendering to the masculine whenever it's a healthy dynamic and they've earned that is beautiful. But if we're just out there surrendering to everyone and letting everyone else lead our energy whenever they haven't even earned that spot in our life, that's how we're going to get traumatized. That's how we're going to get into unhealthy, toxic, abusive situations. And so, like I said, it's that mixture of that light and that dark. The dark side is so equally potent, if not more. It's boundary setting. It's never accepting less than. It's always improving herself and doing her inner work and connecting with that shadow work and that shadow side of herself. That dark feminine goddess energy, honestly, that's what it is. And that is where, not that it's more powerful than light feminine energy, but I think that's just where many women are lacking in their feminine energy to create that divine dark and light union. So most people, like I said, think that being feminine is just being agreeable, submissive in a way, being nice, and they think that that's the way that you're going to attract. If we get from the point of saying, oh, I thought that attracting a masculine man who wants to provide for me, that's all luck. If I get lucky, if the man I love is going to be a provider, that's amazing. If not, that's fine. No, we aren't operating with that. We're not accepting less than. That's not going, being agreeable is not going to get you a healthy masculine man. It may get you a man who is seeming like he's operating in his masculine energy and seeming like he's leading by actually being, or seeing this in you is that, oh, she's easy to control. She's easy to, she agrees with everything. She goes with the flow. She has no boundaries. No, that's not what we want. So holding the container of polarity within a relationship can be easier at first, especially if you're just learning feminine energy, if you're, applying this into your dating life or your relationships. At first, that's going to be the easiest time that you can hold that energy. But when you really get into the long-term relationships or past that phase of where that polarity and that magnetic energy is already natural, that's going to go so much further to be able to hold that container. And the only way that you're able to hold that container is not just by being agreeable, is not just by having that light feminine energy. It's by embracing the dark feminine, the shadow side. It's by embracing your desires. We're told that our desires are bad. I think as women, we're like, oh, you can't say that you want money. You can't say that you want someone to provide for you. You can't say that you desire to, have your own business and be a stay-at-home mom. That's apparently triggering to some people. And personally, I don't know why. I think it should be more talked about because everyone's allowed to have their unique desires. And so having that dark feminine is going to set those boundaries, set those expectations, allow you to raise your standards and not feel guilty for never lowering them, not letting people talk you down into settling to fit into their story, but creating your own story, your own reality. And it's also going to keep that feminine and masculine dynamic alive, because what the masculine really wants, what they really want is to be challenged. They love a challenge. They love feeling that like competition, even if it's with themselves. And when you require more from someone, and when I say require more, what I mean is the value of feminine energy, part of it, the value of it to a man is that it inspires them to create more. Let's use wealth as an example, like finances, right? So maybe it inspires them to earn more money because you have desires, right? And so for them, they may not, like the feminine has desires, I think, much more than the masculine does. Men could be happy with, their one bedroom apartment, whatever, bare minimum, they're fine, right? The feminine wants everything. We want every dress in every color. We want a new purse. We want all of these things. And that's like totally fine, by the way. So if you're struggling also with your having desires and feeling guilty for it, that's another sort of societal conditioning saying like, you need to be the good little girl who doesn't need that much and who is low maintenance. And like, as long as you have the bare minimum, you're happy. Really? Because that's just survival. That's like baseline saying, okay, as long as I make enough to pay my bills, it doesn't matter if I have anything more, like I'm happy. And if that genuinely comes from a place of abundance and saying like, I just really don't desire more, that's fine. But I think for a lot of people, it comes from, I'm actually scared to even desire it because what if I'm disappointed when I don't get it? Or if I don't get it? And I think that's the disconnect. That's the disconnect that I've seen within myself. That's the disconnect that I've seen whenever working with women who, it's so crazy. I'll see them transform within one session from being like, all I want is, a flower from my boyfriend or flowers from the man that I'm dating. That is, we take it from that. And like, to me, I'm like, that is the bare minimum. Like, that's what you should be getting in a relationship with polarity. Like, that's romance, right? And everyone has their different love languages. But we take it from that to be like, oh, I'm a freaking goddess. And if I desire to have someone to provide for me, that's also okay. All of these people are trying to act like you can't have what you want. And you're letting them bring your standards down to here. And eventually, it's just going to end up where you're resentful of not getting what you want because you compromise and you let yourself be a part of their story instead of creating your own. And you may not notice it at first, but that is the people pleasing. People pleasing is manipulative. That's trying to get validation from someone. That's trying to play nice in order to get somebody else to like you. For what? There's some benefit you're getting out of it. But at the end of the day, if you are not voicing your own desires, and this may feel like too much to voice it to other people, start with voicing it to yourself. What do you want? If you were unashamed of asking for what you want, and it wasn't made out to be this bad thing, to desire more, what would you want? Like literally go journal about this right now. Write it down because we can think about it, but until we put that pen to paper and we put that into words, it's in 10 minutes, you're going to forget about it. So literally go write it down right now. Like, what do you want? Not just in a relationship. What lifestyle do you want? Because that is something that you need to take into account whenever you're entering relationships. Whenever, especially if you're looking to get married, are you going to become a part of a story where you had to lower your standards just to be with someone that you're emotionally connected to? That's probably a trauma bond? Is that going to be your story? Or is your story going to be that he had to be in his masculine energy and enjoyed the challenge of rising up to your requirements in order to be with you? What story do you want to tell your grandchildren, right? Like, do you want to be like, oh, I had to beg him to propose to me, and like, you know, I really wanted to live this luxurious life. I had all these desires, but he couldn't provide it for me, and I decided to play small in your business or whatever, so I just settled. Is that really it? That's what you want? So I went on a complete rant there. So let me get back to what I wrote, because what I wrote was good for this live. But yeah, honestly, whenever you see women being treated like a queen, like a goddess, getting that princess treatment, getting spoiled, getting provided for, getting taken on trips, does that trigger you? Because I think for a lot of people, it does trigger them. What comes up for that? Maybe you think, oh, their relationships looks perfect on the outside, but like, you don't know what's going on the inside, right? Or, I don't need my man to provide for me, or treat me like that to be happy. Or, she just got lucky because of how she looks, or he only likes her for how she looks. No, this is all coping, and you have to understand that. This is all like our own victim narrative that we're playing into to suppress our desires. Because what if we don't get them? It's better. This is our brain talking, right? This is our brain trying to protect itself. Is that it's better for us to not want something and not get it. But what's scary is to want something, to have that desire, and one step further is to do something about it, work on your feminine energy, work on even your masculine energy within your business or whatever you're doing. And you're working on something, whether that be feminine or masculine, to get it, and then you don't. That's the worst case scenario, and that's what your brain is protecting you from. That's what your nervous system is like, whoa. Like, let's chill. We don't want all that, because what if we don't get it? It's easier to pretend that we don't want it. And so that's all coping. And it's our subconscious playing small. It's our subconscious playing victim. We're coming up with stories on why we can't have it. But the thing is that you can. Like, literally, you can. And we are compromising our desires so that we literally never have to face the source of our freaking shadow. Like, I went back to the dark feminine, right? We never have to face it if we don't have desires, because what if it didn't happen? Or what if the worst happens? Okay, and like, even from the worst, that doesn't mean that you can't get it later, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Dang, I have a note on my phone. Actually, I can pull it up on my computer. Okay, so I was reading this book by Neville Goddard, and there was a quote in here. I literally had to write it down. It was so good. It said, "It is not your world, but your assumptions that have changed." Right? So, say your assumption was, as a kid or as a little girl, I'm going to have, a husband who's going to provide for me, and I'm going to be treated like a princess. Da, da, da. Okay, now we grow up as adults. Well, has that changed? You see other women being treated that way. So, has that changed at all? No, that reality is still possible. But now our assumptions about ourselves have changed. To say, who am I to want that? Maybe you feel guilty, maybe you feel greedy, maybe you feel bad for wanting that, for not being the good little low maintenance girl. And so that's now your new assumption, and that's how everything's going to show up in your world. You're never going to be able to attract that. You're never even if you do attract it, it's not even about attracting at that point. Would you even be able to receive it if you got it? would you even be able to, like, if you hold that belief is, oh, I was such a, stupid little girl. I thought that this is the way reality could be. Da, 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 da. Like, playing small, back in your victim narrative. Your new assumption is that it can't happen. So even if someone shows up, you're going to be like, oh, well, he was love bombing me. It's too good to be true. Like, no, let me self-sabotage this and push him away. That's all your nervous system being like, I can't hold this in my container. So if you can't even receive it, it's literally never going to happen for you. You could literally be attracting it and be blind to it and be self-sabotaging it. And I'll answer your questions at the end, by the way. So give me 1 second on those. But, this is so good, actually. I'm like speaking to myself over here sometimes. So hopefully this is helpful to y'all. But yeah, do not compromise your desires. The dark feminine does not compromise. The standard is the standard. Period. That's it. Like, there's no compromising. If someone cannot meet it, then they don't meet it. You don't go down to go to their level. No, absolutely not. So the thing is that I want you to be honest with yourself because you want it. You want it. Why would you be on my page? Why would you be in this live video if you did not want that? Like, you want it. Okay, be honest with yourself. If you want to lie to me, if you want to lie to other people, fine. Don't lie to yourself. You want a man. And I'm just using men here with feminine energy because I focus on dating. So yes, life is not all about men. But you want a man who's going to treat you like a princess, who's going to be honest, who's going to value your feminine energy, who's going to provide for you, who's going to take you on dates, who's going to spoil you, who's going to, like, make whatever your love language is. Mine is gifts. So spoil me with gifts. That's what I want. Why are we so ashamed to say what we want? And why are we accepting less? Why are we accepting less whenever less is not going to get us what we want? That didn't make any sense to me, right? It doesn't make any sense because then you don't have the you don't even have the space within your own container to attract more if less is already taking up all of it, right? Say you have 100% capacity within this container and you are in a relationship with someone or you're dating someone who is toxic, like you're arguing all the time. Maybe you're toxic too in the relationship, Maybe trying to change someone is toxic, by the way. Trying to change someone into who you want them to be is manipulative. Be with someone who is already the person that you want to date. Potential? No. That's fake. Does not exist. Changing someone? Why? Why? Why are you treating men like projects? Masculine energy does not respect that. Like, you're not his mom, right? I'm going to go back to dark feminine energy for a minute, or actually the divine feminine, where it's like a mixture of both. But women in their divine feminine, that mixture of the dark, that mixture of the light feminine, the ones who are getting what they want have done their shadow work. This may be a lot more for one woman than it is for another. We all have different traumas, right? We all have different scales of it. They've done it. They've done their shadow work. They're comfortable with their shadow side. It's not scary to them, it's their friend, right? They use it. I shouldn't say they, I should say we, because I love using it. They have faced it, and they aren't scared of that dark side anymore. It's destruction when necessary. It's rebuilding. It's like, if you're into astrology, what Scorpio represents. Death and rebirth. Not in a bad way. This is to recreate, right? The ability to collapse time and allow quantum leaps into the reality that you desire to exist in. Death and rebirth to recreate a life that represents something closer to your desires every time. That's the whole point of inner work. It's not to stay the same. If you're wanting to change, you don't like something. What does this look like? This looks like cutting people off, changing jobs, quitting your jobs to start a business, deciding to be visible in your business, deciding to not care if you're going to trigger or offend people. Because guess what? Triggering people is a gift. That's a gift. When have you had your biggest awakenings? Spiritually, within your feminine energy, whatever. I promise you, you were triggered in some way. And some of us, they see being triggered as a great thing. I love it. You know, it causes my thought process to start. It causes me to start some new inner work. But she had to come say hi. I like it. Some people don't like it. That's fine. It's going to cause our awakening anyways. Like, show up. Show up. Be proud of your feminine energy. Be proud of it, because that's going to awaken other women to feel comfortable to be in theirs. Like, you're literally going to become an inspiration. Death to old conditioning, to your old programming that is keeping you where you are. You don't have what you want because you are doing something wrong. You don't have what you want because there's a knowledge gap. You don't have what you want because you're doing something. Sorry. You're doing something that doesn't align with the reality that you want to exist in. Thank you, Maria. But you're doing something wrong. People are scared to say that. They're like, oh, like, you're not doing anything wrong. We just need to improve it. No, you're doing something wrong. Like, this is a tough love channel over here. You're doing something wrong. Now, if we're talking about business, sometimes masculine energy is necessary to kickstart something, right? But most of the time, it's just getting out of your own freaking way. Like, your own way. And surrendering to not only your own divine masculine energy, because you do have divine masculine energy. It's a union. You cannot just have one or the other. But surrendering, look, if you want to practice surrendering to masculine energy and you don't have a healthy masculine figure in your life, try this. Try surrendering to the divine masculine of the universe, to God. Allow yourself to actually make room for your desires, and death and rebirth, get the F out all the stuff that is not serving you. Take your pen to freaking paper and write down everything that is serving you and that is not serving you. And remove it. Remove it. Get it out. This goes back to why women end up with providers and not being lucky about it. They're in their divine feminine. They set boundaries with their energy. This boundary could look like, I don't waste time dating men who does not value my feminine energy and does not want to provide because that does not align with my values. It's very simple. It's actually very easy. People make this so complicated. It's very easy. Leave those people to connect with women who want to go 50-50, right? Like, all these men are mad that some women want providers. Like, just date a woman who doesn't want a provider, right? Or women who say they don't want a man to care for everything. Okay, then go with a man that wants 50-50. Like, it's not hard. And women in their divine feminine voice their desires and set their boundaries, like, unapologetically. And by walking away, the first time, for me, I have no tolerance. Walking away the first time. For some people, maybe somebody crosses something once and then they're like, say something about it. And if they don't cross it again, cool. Like, that's fine. Communication is fine. I can usually just tell if something's a pattern or something that's like a one-off offense, right? It genuinely disgusts me to see people beg someone to respect their boundary. Well, that's not a boundary then. That's like a little threat that they never follow up on. I don't know. That's not it. Hell no. We don't do that. We do not beg. Goddesses are respected, right? They don't sit around begging for the bare minimum of respect. That is such a downgrade to your energy. That is so disempowering to yourself. If you want to be empowering to yourself and your feminine energy, stick to your freaking boundaries. Like, don't let people talk you down from your boundaries and your standards. That is what you have control over. That is what you are able to control, is how people have access to you. There are block buttons. Delete. Get them out of your container. You can control, did I say time or energy? You can control both time and energy. How much energy do you spend responding to these people? Or do you just not? I literally don't respond to people. I just block them who are infiltrating my space that I don't want to be there. If they're not adding, they're not an asset, why are they there? Women who end up with providers only energetically align with and give energy to men who are in their divine masculine. That means that they show up as a provider, a protector, and a hunter. So whenever we're talking about pursuing and having men chase us, well, these men are in their hunter energy, and we allow them to be. If we're chasing, if we're initiating, we're giving them no space to do that. And then we complain, oh, he doesn't pursue me. He doesn't get me anything. He doesn't text me first. Well, there's no room to do so. Right? Knowing how to not only identify, but attract these men solely with your energy and standards is what I see women struggle with the most. And I teach exactly how to do this, like in my Divine Feminine Dating Academy. My dress wants to slip off over here. But once you know this, you'll literally be able to unlock everything within you that attracts masculine energy men who value and are devoted to your feminine energy, who literally crave your presence in their life, who want to provide for you. And they want to be an asset, not a liability. Not a freaking liability. DM me, I'm ready, on here on Instagram, or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment or go ahead and just book a discovery call with me if you want to get started with this. This is something that you want. Once again, this goes back to playing small on your desires. You desire this and you don't know how to get it. If you don't have it, you don't want it, or you don't know how to get it, or both. So being able to receive help, being able to receive guidance on how to get what you want, if you don't know how to do it yet, is surrender. That's being in your feminine energy. And that alone is a transformative step. So DM me, I'm ready, on Instagram, or even just send me an email to theinsightgoddess@gmail.com and to start working with me one-on-one in the Divine Feminine Dating Academy. The one-on-one option for this, I'm only going to take 3 people. So after that, I'm switching over to group, and it's going to be the same price. This will literally be the lowest that you could ever work with me one-on-one around, femininity, feminine energy, dark, light, wounded feminine energy, healing that wounded masculine. This is going to be the lowest price I will ever offer working with me one-on-one. So DM me or email me, and if you're ready, honestly, just go to my link in the bio and click book a discovery call. We don't even have to DM, just go ahead and book it. But yeah, I'll be transitioning to a group very soon after I reach my threshold, because I'm not holding more than 3 one-on-one clients for this. So definitely DM me ASAP because spots are going to fill up very fast. But let me go ahead and answer some of the questions that I got. Okay, so what if he's a masculine provider but lacking affection and effort? So I would say if he's lacking effort, that's going to be very different than lacking affection. So lacking effort to me, this could mean 2 things. This could mean that he's just not interested. And if he's not interested, he's normally not going to be providing for you. So if he is a provider and he's not putting in effort, I think that could be something that you're doing with your feminine energy where you're not in the position of receiving. Because if we're not in the position of receiving, sometimes we're blocking men and their masculine energy from actually pursuing us and actually putting in the effort. Are we being blind to where they are putting in the effort? Because they could be doing it in a very different way than exactly what we're wanting. And this goes back to desires too. If we aren't able to ask for what we want, if we don't even know what we want, then how are we even supposed to know what to be happy with whenever he shows up with effort, right? And lacking affection, that to me is a very, I'm not going to say unique issue, but it is individual. So is this his personality, right? What kind of affection do you desire? What is affection to you? Is that quality time together? Is that words of affirmation? What does affection mean, right? Because to me, I'm not huge on like physical touch. I guess like that's my lowest love language. It's cool. I like it, but to me, that's not exactly what makes me feel appreciated. What makes me feel appreciated is definitely quality time together and also receiving gifts. So if I'm not getting that, then I'm not feeling like someone's being affectionate towards me. But you have to know what makes you feel that way, and you show up for yourself in that way first. So if you're wanting quality time, if you're wanting gifts, that's an easy one to kind of make an example out of. Treat yourself. We teach people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. So if we never treat ourselves to anything revolving gifts, we never buy ourselves anything, I don't think that a man would see that that's important unless we voice it as a desire or we do it for ourselves. What we do for ourselves is the strongest message that we can send out to the universe, to other people, on how we want to be treated. All right, so I'll leave it open for a few more questions for a few minutes. If you have any questions, just feel free to drop them in the chat. But definitely DM me, I'm ready, just to even get more information about the Divine Feminine Dating Academy, because I go into this in such detail. Like, I literally go through my course, my own videos, and rewatch them because I love this stuff so much, and sometimes it's something that I just need to refresh on and be like, reassess myself and think, where am I going wrong with this? What can I improve on? I go through my own journal prompts, everything. Like, it's truly amazing. And working one-on-one with me, within one session, you are going to be transforming your standards, your energy, and your understanding of where you're going wrong, what you want. You're going to be transforming that so drastically within literally one session. I see such a huge shift, such a huge mindset shift, such a huge shift in standards, and even in just the treatment received by not men, but everyone, men and everyone. That's what I see happen after one session. Just the onboarding session that I do with people. So it's really amazing. He says he likes me and takes me out to eat, but we meet like once every few months. Our contact is literally once a month. I don't know if I should stay. So does this is that how much you want to be in contact with him? It sounds like you want to be in contact with him more, especially meeting in person, and he's also good friends with his ex. So is that a boundary for you? Is that a boundary for you? Because for me, no, that does not work for me. That's weird. To me, that is keeping options open. And I think that's fine if you're just dating, right? Because if you're just going on dates with someone, that's not exclusive, and I'm not going to energetically hold someone to, oh, they need to be doing this, this, and this. If they aren't, then they don't get another date, right? It's not okay with you. Okay, so I want to ask you, why do you keep contacting him, or not saying you're doing it first, but why do you keep responding or keep going out with him? What I see is that a lot of the times it's still benefiting women in some way, or they're very unclear on what they want, what they're okay with, what their boundaries are, what their expectations are in dating, and also what their goal is. If your goal is to get married, then why are you, not saying this is you specifically, but why are you wasting time dating people who want something casual, right? If they're not, a man's going to show you if he's serious. I think men are very loyal. I think that when they want something, they go after it. And so if that's not happening, and if they are not doing things that make you feel respected, and you have to know what makes you feel respected, right? Then that's a sign that they are deselecting themselves. They should be deselecting themselves from your container. He decided to end it, but he said we should talk, and I told him all of this. Okay, I mean, that is individually up to you. What's okay with you? Okay, so you're giving it a last chance. Yeah, I mean, I would come up with what has to be done in order for this to be okay. And if he can't do that, then he deselect himself, because he can do that. It's just, does he want to or not, right? But all right, I'm going to go ahead and end the live here. Thank y'all for hanging out. That was honestly an amazing live, and I'm very happy that I did that today. Make sure and go ahead and join my Facebook group. Actually, I'm going to be going live more in there, specifically in my private group. That's in my link in my bio on Instagram if you're watching this on YouTube. And also book that discovery call with me. It's a complimentary call. We can see if working together is a good, a mutual thing for both of us. And this can really just quantum leap you into the reality, into the relationships that you want. Even just setting yourself up with that feminine energy, not only for dating, but for a good foundation, everything. Absolutely amazing. You want this. You're just scared to desire it. And I want to empower you to look past that fear and truly believe in yourself and align yourself with that. All right, everyone, have an amazing day, and I will see y'all weekly now on these lives. And I'm going to do it weekly at 1 p.m. CST, or is it CDT now? 1 p.m. Central Time. And I'm also going to do additional streams in my Facebook group. So love y'all, and thank you for hanging out.